morning and a very warm welcome to Brownsea Island in Poole Harbour, Dorset. 100 years ago today, Robert Baden-Powell brought 20 young boys from the local area to this very spot for the first ever Scout camp. A century later, and the movement now boasts 28 million members worldwide in 216 countries. To mark this remarkable birthday, 300 Scouts from around the world, as you can see behind me, are bringing their flags into this arena, and then we'll be renewing the famous promise at 8 o'clock GMT. Joining me now, a couple of adult volunteers, Neil Commons and Hannah Coots. Good morning.
Morning there.
Hiya.
Good morning. This feels like a very significant moment in Scouting history, is it?
Well, it's a really magical moment. It's 100 years since Scouting began on this very site, and now starting off in England, the United Kingdom, but now we've got people from over 160 countries gathering here and now, coming in behind us, and it's just an amazing moment to know that Scouting's grown so much around the whole world.
And Hannah, can you feel the spirit of Baden-Powell here today?
You just need to look at all these young people. They're all here on one island together. They're from, as we said, tons of different countries. The spirit's definitely here.
And so just talk us through what's happening behind us still.
Well, as I said, there's people from over 160 countries. They're now coming down onto the original campsite. They're bringing their flags. They're making a lot of noise. They're celebrating this moment. They're celebrating being Scouts. They're celebrating being together amongst all these people from different countries, and they're here to renew their promise, but also to have a great time. And they're clearly having a great time at the moment.
They are, yeah. So a myriad of different flags behind us now. Bringing 20 boys from various backgrounds to this island in 1907 might not seem that revolutionary. Brownsea.
Well, Brownsea was a big adventure for boys. It allowed boys to make as much noise as they liked and be as wild and rowdy as they liked in nature without disturbing anyone. Up till that point, to be a boy was not to have much fun. All work and no play. That was the Victorian ethos. What Baden-Powell saw as important was for boys to learn through having fun, through mucking about together, through falling out of trees, through keeping lookout, through pretending to be out in the wild. Practical activities, and there were activities based on values. The practical activities involved cooking, learning how to be domestic in the wild, teaching the boys resourcefulness, honour, chivalry, politeness, and coping together.
Well, it's nice to come back to the home of Scouting, really, where Baden-Powell set up his first Scout group. It's really, you can feel a presence almost of him here.
Well, one of the most striking images from Brownsea is the image of the young people climbing up the tree and jumping out of the tree onto a held canvas. And we do exactly the same thing as that today. If you look at this high ropes course here, people will climb up these poles, they'll get to the top, they'll all hold hands and they'll lean back. Now that's a real confidence boost for them. They really get something from that. And that's no different to what Baden-Powell did in 1907. It's just that today we have some more safety considerations and we manage the risk in a different way, and you will still get the same experience.
Brownsea taught a host of values and activities that are still central today, completely at the top of the social agenda today. Citizenship, leadership skills, the importance of the environment. But it wasn't until he took the boys to Brownsea and saw how they responded and how they loved the activities that he'd set out for them. It wasn't until that point that he saw that Scouting could work.
So Brownsea's a very special place in Scout history, but behind us now is being unfurled a giant parachute. What's going on there, Neil?
Well, on the giant parachute is the fleur-de-lis. It's the one symbol which you'll see on the chest of every single Scout around the world. It's the symbol of World Scouting, and it's something which everyone holds very, very close to their heart. It's worn on their uniform, and it's something which you recognise amongst all these different uniforms you see around us. You do see one thing, you see the fleur-de-lis on every single one of these. It really unites us. It's a symbol for all of us to come together around.
Yeah, absolutely. And also behind us is a bridge. What's the significance of that?
Well, there's a lot of symbolism in the bridge. The bridge represents what today's all about. It's a bridge uniting the people from around the world. What you're going to see is it's been built by the Scouts, so we're showing how Scouts can unite the world, and they can bridge over troubles, and they can bridge cultural differences, and they can come together through Scouting. And that's what's happening at this moment in time. As you can see all around us, there's people from all over the world having a ball of time, dancing together, and they're going to be bridging those cultural differences.
And finally, Hannah, it's incredible how many of those ideas and activities have survived from the original camp.
Absolutely, and most of Baden's teachings are actually now core skills in everyday life. As we've seen, there's teamwork, it's fun, it's adventure, it's bringing people together for peace. Everything's still relevant.
So we've touched on Scouting in 1907, but what about Scouting in 2007? Well, for an insight into Scouting today, here is UK Chief Scout Peter Duncan.
I see, actually, Baden-Powell's a great radical. His ideas were radical 100 years ago and pretty much radical now. I see Scouting as very much as individuals and not as some kind of group that's told what to do and what rules and regulations they've got to follow. I think it's about inspiration, it's about leadership and making decisions for yourself. And human beings respond to simple ideas. And in many ways, the idea of being a scout is a simple thing. You know, the motto says, be prepared. Yeah. The motto says, help others, you know. It says, do your best, you know. Although they sometimes sound twee and old-fashioned, these are great principles. And I think the good thing about Scouting is that because they tend to be organised, every time there's a national disaster or world disaster, they are quick to motivate themselves and become very practical and pragmatic and actually, you know, help make life better for the people who have suffered. Being a worldwide organisation and having those kind of connections much quicker than governments or even non-government organisation, they're in there, they're doing it, you know, and that's part of their ethos. Scouting is about helping others. Gifts of Peace is really about Scouts going into difficult communities and homelands or taking on difficult problems and trying to either have a problem-solving way of dealing with it or actually making a difference to people's lives. Scouting has tried to immerse itself in all the problems of humanity and also the environment. There was a particular aim that these gifts for peace should be pertinent to the problems of the world now. I think the image of Scouting is that it's about, you know, rules and regulations and order in some quarters, but actually it's the opposite to that. It's really about you are empowering young people to make their own decisions. There is, I think, a world incentive to make Africa a more, not perhaps on Western terms, but a more successful country. And because Scouts from all nationalities have been there so long, they've been hands-on doing stuff. What's happened particularly in Malawi, they are giving back the land, saying, you know, this is your premises, you know, and we're building projects there so that they have got their own space and territory. If the worst predictions happen in our future, that we do end up, you know, with a slightly sicker world environmentally, and we do end up, because of water shortages or because of territory, we do end up in more conflict. You know, these people have got the principles of Scouting attached to their nature, will, you know, be the leaders and maybe the saviours of the future.
Time now to meet some of the Scouts that are taking part in the ceremony. Hello, what's your name?
I'm Kelsey.
Kelsey, where are you from?
I'm from South Africa.
South Africa, that's a long way to come.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, what does it feel like to be on Brownsea this morning?
It's amazing. I'm so overwhelmed at the moment. There's so many people here from everywhere, and it's so wonderful to share in such an awesome experience.
And how did you decide that this was the thing for you to do? Were you picked? Were you selected?
We had to write an essay, and then we got interviewed, and then they chose us.
I've got to ask you, what's this round your neck?
This is a kudu horn. Baden-Powell blew it in the beginning and at the end of the Brownsea Island camp 100 years ago. So
Great.
it's quite special.
Well, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Have fun this morning.
I will.
And behind us here you can see that there are some tents. They're original Bell tents, and that's because that's a reenactment of the original 1907 camp, complete with people dressed as they were in 1907. There's even a mess tent there. There's one small difference, though. There's women involved in this reenactment. Of course, in 1907, there weren't any women. It was an all-male affair. Final touch is being put to the Peace Bridge. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
Yasmin.
Yasmin, and where are you from?
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg. And is today feeling like a special morning to you?
Yeah, really special morning. I think it's like 100 years ago the first scout camp was over here, and we are here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. I think they're putting the final touches there, and the final touch, which is the emblem, is now being brought in, the World Scout emblem. The Peace Bridge, which represents the steps Scouts make to cross cultural boundaries, goes up in the middle there. See, Scouts always working to the final minutes, the final seconds to get everything prepared. It's been a massive operation, this. Something like 4 years it's taken to organise the entire event, and the 100th anniversary celebrations have been in preparation for something like 12 years. So these are the final seconds of something that's been thought about for a long time. And that emblem is on there, which means it's time now for UK Chief Scout Peter Duncan to climb the steps of the Peace Bridge and start the ceremony. Beginning of their scouting life, and they're all given a fleur-de-lis once they join. The promise was first used after the publication of Scouting for Boys, which came out in 1908. Baden-Powell's famous pamphlet, which began a grassroots movement, results of which you're seeing before you now. They're gathering round because that's where they're going to be stood to renew the promise. And at Highlands in Chelmsford, where the 21st World Scout Jamboree, they're doing something very similar. And across the world, they'll be renewing the promise at 8 o'clock local time.
Scouts around the world! Good morning! Good morning! As Chief Scout of the United Kingdom, I welcome you to Brownsea Island to celebrate the centenary of Scouting. The very birthplace of Scouting. 100 years ago, our founder, Robert Baden-Powell, opened the first ever Scout camp on this very spot by sounding this kudu horn 3 times. That first Scout camp was attended by 20 young people from different backgrounds. But today there are 28 million Scouts worldwide from almost every country in the world. And that global Scouting family is represented here today by all those countries. Scouting around the world is united by a promise. It's a promise that we will try to make a difference to make a better and more peaceful world. I invite you all now to renew that promise in your own language and in your own way. So would you please make the Scout sign and join with me in saying, on my honor, I promise that I will do my best to obey God and my country, to help other people at all times. Well done! Now I would like to invite up onto the bridge 6 young people, Alistair, Hannah, Mustafa, Tajri, Expurere and Berna. They are representing the 6 scouting regions of the world. And they are going to say in their own languages again what it's like to be a scout in the country that they come from. Welcome.
This is a journey only scouting can offer.
No debemos tener miedo a vivir la aventura.
بلاد مختلفة، ثقافات مختلفة، أفكار مختلفة، لكن كلنا أصحاب.
Scouting les mani slice palu bonausa.
Notre promesse est renouvelée pour servir tout le monde.
Ребята, но главное помните, что бы ни случилось, мы должны быть вместе.
Well, to continue the international theme, please welcome onto the Peace Bridge. We have the Vice Chair of the World Scout Committee, Therese Birmingham. We have Eduardo Missoni, the Secretary General of the World Organisation of the Scout Movement, and Alistair Frankel, a Scout from Manchester.
Greetings from Brownsea Island. Scouting's mission is to create a better world for young people by education. This involves non-formal education, which offers us both exciting adventures and challenges. This morning, we are standing on the Brownsea Island Peace Bridge, which represents how Scouting builds bridges between cultures, communities, and faiths as it strives to achieve its mission.
Through Scouting, young people is empowered to develop as responsible citizens of the world. Loyal to our promise, Scouts, we face the future with optimism and courage. As sisters and brothers, committed to build peace and to creating a better world, we are prepared to challenge the increasing disparities, intolerance, tensions and conflicts of today's world. As the sun rises on the 2nd century of Scouting, Baden-Powell vision is relevant, just as 100 years ago. But let's hear this in the words of our founder. Alistair, please read some words.
Our aim is to bring up the next generation as useful citizens with a wider outlook than before, and thereby develop goodwill and peace in the world through comradeship and cooperation, in place of the prevailing rivalry between classes, creeds and countries which have done so much in the past to produce wars and unrest.
Well, we've heard the Scouts here renew their promise, but what does the promise and indeed the Scout laws mean to today's Scouts?
To me, it means sticking by my morals. It's kind of just like your beliefs and your values and sticking to them.
It still does apply, like being a good citizen and kind of living life as you should, but I don't think it really relates to people my age anymore, although I can see how it still sort of does.
You promise to do it, and you're promising to do your best, so you're promising to try and live up to it. And if you can't, well, try harder next time.
And you don't have to abide by the laws. They're just there as a guidance from Baden-Powell as how we should live our lives as young people.
It's an organisation, and I think when it was set out 100 years ago, it was set out to try and improve the behaviour and mentality of people my age.
A Scout is to be trusted. Lots of people let me babysit their kids and look after their pets when they go on holiday and things.
If you have a problem and you need to talk to your friend, you need to trust and be able to trust them, not to go and tell anyone else about it.
If you can't trust your friends and they can't trust you, you haven't really got a friendship.
A Scout is loyal.
You show your loyalty by, no matter what, being there for someone or for something and representing that view, no matter what.
Even if it's a small thing like coming to town with me, if I say, yeah, I'll come with you, I'll stick to it because people's let me down and I don't like letting people down.
Loyalty to me is being able to turn up to my netball team every week to play even though we lose. A Scout is friendly and considerate.
I like to think I am because I just don't like hurting people, I don't like seeing people upset.
I think being a Scout helps you to be friendly and considerate.
And I hope I'm smiley a lot and considerate to how other people are feeling.
A Scout belongs to the worldwide family of Scouts.
Our group has actually linked up through emailing and through the internet with another group in Poland, and we've actually had an exchange trip where we've gone over to them, we've met them, and we're inviting them back next November.
Being part of a global organisation means that wherever you go, you're going to have friends anywhere and you're going to have contacts everywhere. A Scout has courage in all difficulties.
You have to have that courage to get up and keep going, because without that kind of courage, you know, you can be left there and you can just rot away, as it were, and just remain in that hole for the rest of your life. But it's that courage to stand up and be strong and keep on going.
A Scout makes good use of time and is careful of possessions and property.
The one thing that I am proud to say as a Scout is I've made the most of my childhood.
I'm very active. I don't sit around moping, I don't watch the TV all the time.
You're only young once, and to experience all the sorts of things that I can experience now, which I can't necessarily do when I'm older. A Scout has self-respect and respect for others.
I don't know what changed, it's just I changed in a way. I think it was more that I find out who I was.
By being through Scouts and learning that there are other people, there's other people that need help. You're not the worst one in the world. You know, there's a lot of people who are in a much more difficult situation than me. I think through being through Scouts has taught me that, and I have learnt, you know, to be the way I am. It has changed me.
The power of Scouting there. Now I'm joined by Flo. Hello, Flo.
Hi.
And where are you from, Flo?
I'm from Austria.
So, Flo, in that piece we heard one of the contributors say that perhaps the promise wasn't as meaningful to him now as perhaps it has been in generations gone by. Do you feel that?
No, I don't think so. On the Jamboree I noticed that there's no difference between the Scouts all over the world. They've got the same promise. They promised the same thing, and I think it connects people, and it's very marvelous to be a part of this big and powerful relationship. And yeah, I really like it.
How did it feel to renew your promise just now?
Oh yeah, it was great, and I remembered it when I did it at first. And I think there are so many Scouts on Brownsea Island from different countries, and they did the same promise. This was wow for me.
Sorry, Flo, I might have to interrupt you because you probably hear the noise that's gathering around us. Neil, could you just explain what that noise is?
At the moment, the boom whackers have been distributed, and all of the Scouts around the world are trying to make as much noise as possible, as we can hear in the background, to celebrate out loud that they've just made the promise and to celebrate Scouting's 100th birthday.
Yeah, so nothing like making a lot of noise to celebrate a birthday. So it's sort of And while that's happening, the bridge is being crossed by, I think, as many people, all 300 of the Scouts, is that right?
All of the Scouts of all the world are crossing behind us at the moment, and as they cross, they're shaking hands and making a symbol of peace, because they're getting to know all the cultures. They've made friends from around the world now, and every person they shake hands with, they know is a friend in the Brotherhood of Scouting.
Yes, I noticed it. Every stranger is a friend.
That's a very nice thought. And this morning is only one part of your stay here. What else have you done while you've been on Brownsea, Flo?
Yes, we did canoeing, and we did some station tents and bird tents, like all of the continents, and yeah, quite a lot of things. It's beautiful.
And have you made many friends?
Yes, of course. I've never slept in a tent with 7 other countries, 7 other nations.
Yeah, that's a remarkable achievement. Talking of other nations and other countries, people have made some remarkable journeys, and we've followed one, that of Jessica, who's travelled all the way from Ecuador.
I feel to be in Brownsea very exciting. I am happy. I am proud to be a scout, to be here where all started. In our country, the possibilities to enjoy in the nature, they are bigger. They are the biggest because we have a lot of natural resources. We help the community, and we do what a scout of the world do. It's the same, I think, perhaps with other types of costumes, but I think that the ideology and the objective, the goal is the same. It took us about 16 hours to be here. We was very tired when we arrived here. It's like, we are here, we are happy, yeah. In the inside we are very happy, but in the surface we are like, yeah. We want only to sleep. When I arrived, I tried to see all the island, all the details. I tried to see how it is and how it was before when Baden-Powell went here with all the young people. We started to walk. If you start to imagine how it was before when they arrived, when Baden-Powell arrived, it's like here he was, here it's the same place. It was very, very nice to feel it. It's difficult to believe that I am here, I am waiting for a year and a half, I think, to be here, to feel how is Brownsea, how is England, how is all, and I feel very happy, and very thankful, I think, yes.
Well, I'm pleased to say that Jessica joins us now. Hello, Jessica.
Hello.
So, how does it feel to be on Brownsea today after coming 16 hours from Ecuador?
Oh, well, it was so cool. It's exciting to be here. I want to cry, I want to scream, I don't know. It's only a feel that you want to express to the world and to say that we are scouts and we are prepared to be a better person, to do the better things in the world, I don't know, to be only scouts and to live, to smile, yeah.
And there's a great atmosphere this morning, isn't there?
Yeah, all that. It's just unique, it's incredible.
Is this how you imagined it was going to be when you were back in Ecuador?
Yeah, I will be very, very proud to be here. I'm very proud to represent my country, Ecuador, and I think that my friends they're going to be very happy for me too, because they know that I represent them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a very good experience for me, for my life.
I think it really is, yeah. And commemorating today, the Royal Mail has issued some special stamps, which Neil is holding. There are 6 stamps there, aren't there, Neil?
Yeah, there's 6 stamps, and they tell us, actually they tell the world some really important facts about Scouting which I don't think people really appreciate. That we offer 360 million hours of community work of volunteers every year. That's what we do. And we've got 450,000 members working really, really hard in the UK. And some facts about what Scouts become as well. 11 of the 12 people who've stood on the moon have all been Scouts in the past. So being Scouting, there's often people who are really, really high achievers in the future because they learn about leadership skills, they learn about working in a team, and it makes them succeed in the future.
And finally, will Scouting be here in another 100 years to celebrate their next anniversary?
I'm sure.
Yeah?
Definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much to all of my guests. We're coming to the end of our live coverage. There you are up there. Our live coverage here from Brownsea Island in Poole Harbour in Dorset, the home place, the birthplace of Scouting. I'm going to leave you with some final words from Lord Baden-Powell as read by Anna and Mustafa from Honduras and Egypt. Goodbye, enjoy your breakfast.
In his final letter to the Scouts before he died in 1931, Baden-Powell wrote,
I have had a most happy life, and I want each one of you to have as happy a life too. Happiness doesn't come from being rich, normally by being successful in your career, nor by self-indulgence.
One step towards happiness is to make yourself healthy and strong, but the real way to get happiness is giving out happiness to other people.
Try to leave this world a little bit better than you found it. Stick to your Scout promise always.